We'll go Lord Word book in. Gracious Heavenly Father, Lord God, we come tonight thanking you for a beautiful day. Thank you for the safety through the storms, dear God. We pray, Heavenly Father, should be with us now as we go into your word and honor your word by our presence here. Dear God, be with us now. These things I pray in Jesus' precious name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice.
It used to be like. Yeah.
Okay, we need to approve the minutes from last go round.
I make that motion.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye. Right now, the claims for approval.
And there was a change in the claims from what I sent, the update.
Yeah, I saw
It
that.
went down $10.
Oh, good.
$10.
Oh, yeah. Okay, the total is $37,781. $781,501.85. Need a motion to approve.
Make the vote. I'll second.
On favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right, let's, the treasury report and clerks
There were none.
didn't have any.
Didn't have.
Department reports. Anybody?
I would love representing the sheriff. He's busy this evening. Couldn't be here tonight, but I'm not as fancy as he is. I don't have pictures to show, but he did tell me about great things. And so I'm kind of representing that, I don't know if any of you noticed, but there was a box trailer with a box truck with a trailer sitting up on the parking lot across from the Princeton Police Department. That was part of FirstNet and part of AT&T cell service, and sheriff was able to get a hold of them and contacted Chris Bell and him worked together getting hold of AT&T, and they were able to get them to bring that remote unit in. It was actually a cell tower that would get AT&T back up and running here, at least in the Princeton area. During the storm, apparently somehow one of their fiber optic cables got cut. And if you're, I guess, we're a user of AT&T and or maybe Verizon too,
Wasn't too.
they wouldn't work too good. So he worked, they were originally put out at the fairgrounds, and AT&T said the person that would rather have it closer to the center of town. So we got with the mayor and worked with him. And I just got a call right before I came over here a little while ago that AT&T cell phone service. And so yeah, just wanted to share that with you. So like I said, I didn't have a picture of it. Hard act to follow, so. Anyway, I think that I'm not used to being first.
You're number one.
So this is a little bit different statistics than you normally get. We have a camera that put up a live video stream of the construction site. If you go to our website, there's a thing called Geo Construction Camera. You click on it. We've had 2,565 viewers. We peaked at 250 on one day, and we average about 28 to 30 every day. And that's since April the 2nd of Tuesday. So it's well watched, and it seems like everybody knows when they're doing something major over there, because that's when everybody tunes in. The other thing is I want to talk about is They worked on the drug take back program. And in 2020, they did 242 pounds. 2021, they did 268 pounds, and in 2022, did 184 pounds of drugs that were got disposed of. And the other thing is, as you know, we have a Facebook page. And on July the 3rd, we had 13,054 Facebook followers. On Twitter followers, we have 2,151. In Nixle, we have 3,881 subscribers there. That's a little bit some different statistics than we normally get. Jail's got about 120 people in it right now. It's got population is kind of going up. First things have been hot. And when things gets hot in the middle of the summer, our numbers go up. So, and guess what? I'm standing here. I go ahead and do the go ahead and do the
Okay, do that.
jail update if you don't mind. I did get a letter from Houston Solar. There are people that installed solar panels on correctional buildings that they like ours. And their cost is going to, if we do this, is going to be $232,000. And I think my understanding that our local solar company that's going to put in panels here has pledged $200,000. So there's about $32,000 obviously difference. So commissioners kind of we need to talk about in the very near future, what we're going to do. We're going to go ahead and try to find the $32,000 somewhere. Or we're not going to do the project. According to what we've been told by RQAW, and a couple other places that it'll save us anywhere from 8 to 10% on an electric bill. Now that electric bill will be mainly on the sheriff's office, 911, and the jail intake. Because that's where the panels are going to be sitting if we go forward with that. So I'll do whatever you got. I'm talking now to get the project owner's rep instead of sheriff.
Yeah, all right.
Rep. So
We could direct the sheriff to the ARPA committee
Yeah,
and have him secure the funds that way.
do that.
I can dial, I'll be glad to have.
Share that message.
Sure.
Okay.
And just see if he can do that. I think we also had if I remember right, about a $12,000 bill from RQAW for design. If I remember right, that was maybe the last meeting we were sending forward on that. So we may be a little more than 32,000, but maybe it'll be closer to maybe 50, but I'll work with the sheriff on that and see if we can't get something put together and send that to Billy Bennett. Okay.
Thank you.
And they are still putting up bricks and they're still putting up steel, so things are moving along. Okay,
Okay,
thank you.
Thank you.
the department reports.
Short one. I'll start out with the detention facility for the animals.
Yeah.
It's also bursting at the seams, unfortunately. So last week, there was a hoarding case that they dealt with and 16 dogs were taken. And you may or may not remember, we only had 16 kennels at the shelter and those are generally full. So Mary and her staff worked miracles to try to make space. Our kennels fortunately are wider than a lot of shelters have, so you can double up dogs that get along that don't know each other. There's in summertime, thankfully, we have some outside areas that are under shade trees with grass, so some of the animals are put out there. And then you reach out to rescue groups. So this is where the example of fostering is critical to shelters, because if people can foster dogs, then that frees up space until we can get those animals placed. So this is a request to the community to really think about fostering. Because right now, I'm a beagle person, and there is this most adorable, just cutest, sweetest little beagle out there that would just love to be in a foster home. And I already have mine are full, so, but anyway. So there's all kinds of cute animals out there that are great that would do fine in a foster home, at least temporarily till we get over the hump of the hoarding situation. But then on a very positive note, Warren has seen this. We now have our first draft of a picture of what our new shelter will look like.
Yeah.
It's a metal building, obviously, but the important thing is it faces directly west towards the soccer fields. This area here would be what they call a catio, where on nice days, the inside cats are allowed to go into their catio. So anyway, this is the first draft. So we're pretty excited because I was super excited when we got an address from the sheriff's department assigned to us. Now it's really exciting because we have a visual of what it's going to look like. So we're getting slow. We're going there slowly because we want to do everything right and not cut any corners, but also be very efficient on use of the money. So for everyone in the audience, it's exciting. So if you see the schematic of the building, it's even more. Yeah, the catio is like right here.
Very nice.
Yeah, so we're very excited.
Sure.
It's nice, Sharon.
Yeah. Thank you.
It's an amazing building and it's gonna be very helpful in providing resources for critters and critter owners in our county.
I'm sorry.
So it's an amazing building. It's gonna be a true resource for a lot of animals and
The new facility, when we talked to the architects for the first time last week, will actually be in some 37 kennels, which is what we thought we could get. They found space, made 38. So that would be very helpful right now when we brought in 16 dogs that were in serious need of care and shelter.
thank you, Sharon.
Any other departments? Nope. All right, and George already gave his update. So, Jason, recommended RPA.
The ARPA committee met recently and we've got some recommendations for the commissioner's approval. Those recommendations were sent to you by email. I'll briefly go over them and would ask that we approve them as one vote instead of individually. So the first item is upgrades to the clerk's office to the tune of $36,000. The second item is to replace metal screens in the courthouse bell tower. Estimated cost $24,000. Third item is restoration of the base of the courthouse monuments. Estimated cost $18,080. Fourth item is moving shelving and installing the shelving in the work release center. Estimate for that is $4,896. Fifth item is replacement of the north side courthouse basement door. This is due to the bottom frame in disrepair and rusting out. Estimated cost is $13,233. That totals $96,209, and you received the estimates in the email that Debbie Bennett sent out. The ARPA committee is recommending that those items be approved by the full body of commissioners. So that would be my recommendation as an ARPA committee member, and entertain any discussion on that. And if none, a motion to that effect.
Only thing I wanted to offer is Sherry Smith was very gracious and helpful in working with us on some of the storage movement and the cost incurred during the moving of some of the storage and storage infrastructure. So she was extremely helpful with that.
Yeah.
And I also wanted to say that George Pickersgill has been instrumental in identifying some of the monument improvements that we need for our Civil War monument on the courthouse square. And so included in this funding is a replacement of some concrete, some foundation, if you will, repairs that are needed for our Civil War monument. And I believe he has one other monument figured in there too. So this is, to me, I was very excited that here in Gibson County, we are maintaining and restoring our war monuments and paying homage to the veterans and some of the folks that gave it all to this country and to this county. So I want to compliment George Pickersgill for identifying this project, bring it to the ARPA committee. And then, of course, tonight we get an opportunity to move this forward and show our community that the commissioners not only support, but appreciate greatly the sacrifice that the veterans have provided us here in this great country. So I'll move to approve.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. That leaves a balance with that approval of $1,074,925, excuse me, $1,074,925.
Okay, second reading of ordinance. Hiring employees and appointees.
So the current version of this ordinance is in front of you. This was approved at the previous meeting, but because it was not unanimous, it has to be voted on again and would have to be approved by a majority this evening in order for it to be valid. I would direct your attention to the last page of the documents. That's the Exhibit A referenced in the substance of the ordinance. And this, I have removed, I used some discretion in removing some positions that were on there that I did not think were appropriate. This can be amended from time to time if necessary. So your options tonight are to approve it as presented, to reject it, or you could amend it here tonight, and it would be effective upon passage here this evening if you amended it. On Exhibit A, and if you want me to read it out loud, I'll go through all of the approximately 30 positions that are specifically delegated to the commissioners as having jurisdiction over making those appointments or hires. Will we go through it?
Please.
Okay. Emergency Medical Director, County Attorney, Highway Superintendent Supervisor, Director of Maintenance, Safety, and ADA Compliance, Veteran Service Officer, Emergency Management Agency Director, Weights and Measures Director, Wabash River Heritage Corridor Commission, Alcohol Beverage Commission, Local Emergency Planning Commission, Workforce Investment Board, GIS Coordinator, Gibson County Economic Development, EREP Appointment, Gibson or County Grievance Board, Gibson County Hospital Board, Gibson County Chamber of Commerce, EMA District 10 Planning Commission, Redevelopment Commission, Gibson County Drainage Board, Gibson County Jail Construction Owners Representative, Hopkins County Park Board, Commissioners Court for Animal Services, which is an agenda item later this evening. Redevelopment Authority, Visitor and Tourism Board, Downtown Princeton, Inc., the ARPA committee that just made a recommendation to the full body, Gibson County Addiction Board, Fire Chiefs Association, District Planning Oversight Committee, Princeton Plan Commission, Hopstock Planning Commission, Community Corrections, Public Defender Commission Board, Education Administrator, Mental Health Administrator, Gibson County Economic Development Commission, Gibson County Holding Corporation, Gibson County YMCA, Gibson County Building Corporation.
On the community corrections, I think that's the board members that get final approval. It's not actually elected director. Board members that attend or board of the meeting.
Which one you say it was?
Community Corrections, yeah.
It's the actual board members. They, their board recommends to this board, the person, it's kind of like a line.
Yeah.
And the commissioners vote on that.
Questions, comments, concerns?
Correct. So it's still an appointment, but it goes through a different board prior to coming to us.
Yeah, it's kind of like I say, it's kind of similar to like a fire
Okay.
library, it's kind of similar to that. titles are reversed. That's why we did it for.
But EIS on there still. EIS is still on there.
Well, I also move to accept and approve.
When,
Yeah, we still have the GIS.
it's not even under ours anymore.
Yeah.
Council moved it.
What you think, Jason? What else any recommendations or anything?
Well, your options, I've gone over those. The exhibit A is a little concerning to me. You know, where this came from was the assistant for the commissioners keeps a running list of the annual appointments that we make. So I pulled off of that. Again, I redacted some since inception of this document, including some ditch boards. So I would say that exhibit A, like I said, concerning to me, I don't think it's exhaustive list, but it is, it can be amended. We could amend it if we wanted to next meeting, until we get it right. Until we get it as an exhaustive list, but I don't know.
Could we take exhibit A off of it?
You could, yeah. There's some references to exhibit A in the body of the ordinance that would need to be modified, but you could adopt it without exhibit A. And I would just make the changes to the document, circulate it with those changes.
It's like it's done very quickly and then, just like George just said, need to make a change there and I mean, cover all of our bases and everything and make sure we're covering everything, that's just my thoughts on it, I think this is a process that needs to be a little more, so with a comb through, with a fine through, that's just what I think. I mean, I just don't want to do something like this really quickly. Do we need to go in more, exhausting more into hiring, firing, or, I mean, how far do we need to go into this, What do you think, Kenny?
Is there any particular part of it, Nick, that you maybe had concerns about, or is there anything you don't like?
Well, I mean, I just, every time we do this, we put a question about, just like George just brought up that one, and then, I mean, what else is there? I mean, I don't know, like I said, I've looked at the list when I first got sworn in and everything, but that list has always been a little shaky,
Right.
just,
Well,
No.
I'll tell you what, in my stint as a commissioner for the last couple of years, we've been able to rely on that list and it's been a pretty stable list of appointees every year. We've looked at it. Granted, Commissioner Montgomery brought up to me recently that we don't have to reappoint people. Sometimes people do get carried over from year to year, but every year since I've been a commissioner, we have looked at that list and you've got an opportunity there, you know what I mean, to make adjustments or changes.
Mhm.
And in response to George's comment there, I think everyone's in agreement that it does come from a board. And then we can either appoint based on their recommendation, or we can choose to not appoint. I've never known us to not appoint because we put a lot of confidence in that group. That said, I just want to reiterate that if you go down through this ordinance, you will really find nothing earth shaking. Everything from Indiana Code 3613 down to the very last code, it's mentioned 36248. Everything in here is a compilation of Indiana state code as it applies to appointments. And I also want to clear the air too, because I feel like one of the most important reasons we need this ordinance sooner than later is because there was some confusion during this most recent hire. We had a situation where there was a self-appointed committee, and the committee conducted interviews prior to the position being advertised. And I feel like some of those folks involved in that, although I'm not sure who made up that group entirely, I think they would benefit greatly from having some guidance. I mean, one of the things that I've heard from people is we need direction, we need guidance. And I think this will provide some guidance, some very clear guidance on who makes the appointments. Again, this does not necessarily, I don't think this in any way empowers the commissioners or the county council or anyone. This just clearly puts it in paper. Here are the folks that we appoint. And I do think this would be a great benefit to Gibson County government. And as I stated, if it makes you feel any better at all, and Jason, you might want to chime in here too, but everything in this ordinance aligns with Indiana code. We've tied it to Indiana code everywhere we can. So, I mean, it even spells out, for instance, I'll pick a few things out of here just to kind of help illustrate how we've respected all the different offices in the courthouse and within our county government. There's even a line here that relates to Indiana Code 36-2-16-7, which gives the coroner of Gibson County the authority to appoint the number of deputies and clerical employees authorized by the county council. There is also a reference to Indiana Code 36-2-16-5 that gives a surveyor of Gibson County the authority to appoint his first or chief deputy, and also any other number of full-time or part-time deputies. So this is clearly just empowering some of these independent offices within our county and stating what Indiana code says in regards to their particular offices. Another one of, I think, of great interest is Rule 2.13, which is of the Code of Judicial Conduct. It contemplates judges hiring his or her own staff. So this gives full authority to the judges to hire their own staff. I mean, as you go down through this, gentlemen, and we've spent a great deal of time on this. I agree with what's being said here, that this can also be revised at a later date. I mean, that's all of our ordinances are subject to revision as needed. But I think that to kick the can down the road anymore would be a disservice to some of our offices, and I think you'd be proud to have this in place, and also would help us to conduct our business. So.
And if I may add, I think that I sent this to a lot. I think all of the commissioners and the council. The Indiana Association of Counties has a handbook, and that handbook addresses a lot of different issues pertaining to county government. It specifically addressed what I think is the issue we faced when we previously hired the GIS coordinator. But the language that I pulled out of that handbook and sent to a lot of the elected officials with this county provides as follows. There may be some difficulty in interpreting which officials and employees are appointed by elected officials and which are not. Persons appointed to statutory boards or commissions and department heads or deputies specifically mentioned in a statute are clearly within the category of appointed officials. Employees who do not report directly to elected officials may be interpreted to be non-appointed public servants. To provide clarity, counties may wish to adopt an ordinance defining which positions are appointed. So I don't care if you approve, reject, or approve with amendments, but my recommendation is that at some point you need legislation such as this that tries to provide an exhaustive list.
So we got any motion on it yet?
Yes, sir. I made a motion to approve and I also asked if anybody had any questions or if there was anything they didn't like in it, let me know and I'll try to explain the best I can.
Now, the one problem I had with it's been taken care of, so. I make a second on that.
I don't feel comfortable doing it right now, but that's fine. Go ahead.
It's something we do that first every year is
Mhm.
go through the appointees and. Majority of the time, we just put them right back in. That's. But got a second anyway.
Okay, we have a second on the floor. All in favor, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Opposed?
Guys have it 2-1.
All right, Jason, can you tell me what this one's about? Commissioner Court appointment ordinance violation.
Yeah, so, ultimately, if you get, adverse action taken against you by the government, you get an opportunity for judicial review, which is, you challenge the government agency's decision to the courts. Before you get there, we need another layer that we don't have. I think this was previously discussed. I don't think we took official action on it. And this is kind of coming out of a recent settlement we reached in a pending lawsuit. So I am recommending that the commissioners appoint that individual that would hear ordinance violations. So take, for example, Animal Services issues an at-large dog violation. The person receiving that violation would have the opportunity to appeal it to this hearing officer that you're getting ready to appoint, assuming you do so. And then after exhausting those, what we call administrative remedies, they could pursue the judicial review to one of the judges. So I sent an email recommending or giving you some suggestions on who that individual could be. It could be the commissioner, it could be myself, it could be Sharon Warney, for example, and she's willing to do it if you would want to appoint her. But you'll need to make that decision here this evening.
You are willing to do it?
But, does the ordinance have a term limit? It would be a yearly.
It's a lifetime.
Oh.
Don't get out.
It would be renewed, it would be addressed annually, January. In
That's a
January.
year. That's a year, every year.
Yeah, it'd be renewed with the other appointments.
Got a question?
Just because I sit on the animal shelter board, is that a conflict? If your appointment as chairperson?
So we vetted that, we don't see it as an issue. She's not issuing the citation, so.
Anybody willing to do it, I think.
Well, yeah,
I'll
I
make a
love volunteers.
I'll make a motion, go ahead.
Thank you. You
Mhm.
make a motion, I'll second.
On favor? Aye.
All right. Thank you, Sharon.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, now it comes on.
Paid position.
Oh, yeah, 6 figures.
Well, figures.
Yes, and we're just giving you all on tonight.
Yeah.
Road 360.
So I sent a correspondence out. It did not receive a response. And at this time, if you want to go forward, you need to conduct a study pursuant to the law. The law doesn't specify how that study is conducted. I had previously talked with a few county officials, but I think we're probably better off outsourcing that to a private engineering firm. They would make a recommendation to the commissioners on what they think needs to happen. The commissioners would then conduct a public hearing if it is in fact going to be an expansion of that road. So that's my recommendation. I don't have any amounts to give you this evening. But Michael,
Where? Right there.
would your firm be in a position to do something like that?
Details at this point, but I would
Okay.
think so. need to talk to you to find out what the details are.
So I'll talk to a couple of engineering firms and I guess I'd ask for permission to proceed. Not a price not to exceed.
Need to get it done as soon as possible.
Think got something on your mind.
Right, right. I do have many things in my mind, especially in regards to this matter. And I kind of know the direction that this is going in. But my biggest concern is alleviating the situation out there to where it's safe for passerbys and everyone that might be using this road.
Is this something that can be done quickly? I mean,
I would say a study's gonna take 30 days.
Thing is, more trucks, you make that wider, more trucks will use that road, more stem lights.
I have to disagree, sir. I live on that road. And there's only two. I've lived on that road for 11 years. She's lived on it for longer than 30. So I have to disagree with you on that.
Well, the only reason why they don't do it is because the train 350 helps them up, but there is a lot of trucks that go through there.
Okay, we're talking about County Road 360 South.
That's 350 south, goes right in front of the county garage.
360 south.
360 south.
360 south, it's
I thought it said 350.
No,
No,
that's okay.
further east.
One number off.
I'm gonna move to table this to consult with Sheriff Van Oven. I've got one last idea that I want to,
yeah, I need to get something done because they sent him a letter. He's not made an effort to move those bales. And then when they had the wind the other day, there was limbs down that road too. So then they had to go around the bales and limbs.
You can't go around.
is there any, I mean, we're at the point now where we're talking about, potentially talking about the road itself and limitations of the road and its right of ways and whatnot. But given our letter and the terminology that we spelled out in that letter, is there a possibility that this could go to litigation now?
Oh, yeah, yes, absolutely.
So gentlemen, I have two thoughts for you on this matter. One is, we can table it to speak with Sheriff Van Oven and consult his resources, which he probably knows a little more about this than most of us, or at least me. I'll open up to that. He deals with these kind of situations frequently. So we could consult with Sheriff Van Oven, and we can still, or number two, that is consult with Sheriff Van Oven in regards to this matter, and also begin pursuing litigation against this individual.
That would be individuals. There's 3 people, not just one. I think you guys keep missing that point. There's 3 people, there are 3 landowners involved in this situation. You could make it one, I suppose, if you just want to go on one side of the road, but however, that to the other 2 is not.
it is a safety though. I mean, it's something needs to be something.
It is, and the issue is, I think the issue at hand is if a child were injured out there on a 4-wheeler, or if even just a regular licensed driver cruising that route and had a wreck and was injured, that'd be a terrible situation.
One of our neighbors has a 4-wheeler and he takes 2 of his grandkids on a 4-wheeler ride just about every day. He's only going like 5 miles an hour because one of them is very little, but
I guess what I would like to address is that I think you as commissioners have approached the individuals with 3 cordial letters, 3. And No one has ever come here. They are totally disregarding your positions and authoritative seat that you hold. And I find that myself, I would find that extremely offensive, as if they are totally ignoring any disregard that you are trying to have in your position for all the people. So you were elected by the people for the people. And I think there's been given substantial amount of time. And I'll go back to years, we'll go back to 1980. We can go back even further if you want, but starting in 1980. I didn't live there then, I was only 10 years old, but the people that have lived out there, they've been dealing with this since. I've been dealing with it for 11 years. And I feel like that the commissioners that we currently have now at least are taking these steps to move forward. And I personally don't feel that there needs to be any more time to negotiate, to talk, to give the landowners and the homeowners that are causing a 5 foot on each side of the road this much difficulty.
Yeah, because I've talked to him, offered the county to buy property. from him. He wasn't interested. He said, I'm gonna sell you no property, widen the road.
I can tell you, if I received a letter, 1, let alone 3, I would be here because I respect the positions that are held. So I respect authority.
You said there was 3 letters? There were 3 letters?
So I'm thinking as a homeowner out there that I think I'm pretty level-headed and I feel like I contribute a lot to my community. I'm our township trustee, for crying out loud. I deal with difficult people and I deal with great people on a daily basis. I work for the public. I've worked for the public for 20+ years. And I'm about to lose my patience. And I think I have every right. And I've lived there 11 years. She's lived there 30. And I feel like that we do finally have people in the position that at least have written a letter and to stop now and get advice. I'm sorry, Warren, but to get advice from the sheriff, what's the sheriff going to say? We've already had a sheriff out there. You know, there's nothing he can do because there's no county right of way. So no disrespect to Bruce, but what's he gonna do nothing? There's nothing he can do. You guys are the ones holding the gun.
Well, and I didn't know, I mean, I'm sure they have been out there before, but I didn't know if there was anything looked at and some of the traffic safety issues or some of the traffic safety law that we're not seeing. And I'm sure it has been exhausted. But I was just thinking, one more Boy Scout opportunity here, one more Boy Scout chance to do our homework and make sure there's not something we're leaving out. As you know, I've been involved with this and I feel like I've pushed the envelope pretty hard the entire time. And for anybody out there in the audience, if you're wondering what we're talking about here, so we actually have a county road in this county. I don't like sharing this story too much because it's a little over the top, but we have a county road and someone has placed straw bales somewhere in the vicinity of the county road.
The edge of the road.
I mean, one could argue maybe even on the edge. I mean, you have to get there and measure it to be sure, but so anyhow, these bells are up there where they're in your way. If you're driving down this road, you see these bells and I think they've used some kind of a metal rod.
It's a rod.
It reminded me, I'm not saying it is this, but it reminded me of the old Wells pump rod.
Yep.
You know, guys,
Really?
they look pretty, pretty big in diameter. I'm gonna say 3/4 inch. Again, just throwing out some ideas here. Long story short, I've been out there, I've looked at it. I thought, what's going on? Why are we putting straw on roads or close to roads or in the vicinity of roads and just, I've never seen that before. And I've been in a lot of counties. I mean, there's 92 and I bet you I've been in all 92. And so I was just like, what's going on out here? I mean, that's my question is what's going on out here? Why are we doing this? And there are different reasons people, you know, I'm sure would want to do something like that, but I just can't figure it out. So at the end of the day, here's where I am. I'm back to what I said earlier, right? And that is, we've got several, I'll put a couple options out there for us to consider. One, consult Sheriff Vanoven. Two would be to consult Sheriff Vanoven again about any kind of safety standards that we haven't foreseen. And also look into some form of litigation, starting the litigation process. I will advise at this point, and I'm not an attorney, so it's in my opinion, whatever steps we do litigation wise, it should be with good reasoning, good support and good data, right? We can't just, I mean, you have to be careful about this right of way stuff. I think you can respect that. I know you can. You're well aware of right of ways. You work with easements and right of ways. Yeah. Preaching to the choir. Yeah, you know this stuff. I mean, hello. So she knows this as much as I do, that we have to really dot our I's and cross our T's on this stuff, or it doesn't help anything. So if we're gonna pursue this, gentleman, and I'm all on board for pursuing it, by all means.
Me too.
I'm as passionate, I have as much fervor as the next person when it comes to this matter, because I don't want to see someone injured. But if we're gonna do it, let's do it the right way. Attorney Spindler, is that enough guidance for you to
Yeah.
dig into this deeper?
Yeah.
And gentlemen, I'll zip it, sorry.
If you pursue litigation, your only cause of action would be a nuisance issue at this point, which means they would be ordered, if we were successful, to move the straw bales off the edge of the road. It would not be an expansion of the road. To do an expansion of the road, you would have to go through that process that I mentioned earlier.
If we take them off, that would be, I mean, we can get them taken off, that the road be wide enough to, I mean, the road be,
Two cars would be able to.
road's fine. Well, we just need to get the hay bales off of them,
Yeah, they
basically.
removed that.
Two cars would not be able to pass without getting in their yard though, right?
Two cars, yeah, not just if you, not just that, but because then you.
That's just it.
Their road and onto their property. And that's what they're saying. You need 5 feet on each side of the road, period, the end. And so I'm asking, as a homeowner, let's stop the chit chat. Let's get done what needs to get done so that we're not living on a horse-drawn road that serves 13 family homes, that at least 2 drivers are on it every single day.
Good question.
What's the right of easement? I mean, the county has.
There is
on the
none.
road.
The surveyor said there is none.
Oh, there's gotta be.
According to them, there's not.
I do, and I mentioned this to Commissioner Burns earlier. I had talked with Candy a couple of weeks ago and she was working on pulling some records for me. Of course, she's out right now, so that may take longer than originally planned, but this has been addressed a few times over the years. I believe that previous Commissioner Douglas had been out there.
I've been part of bringing it up to a lot of the commissions. This is the furthest we've ever gone.
It was stated on one of the landowners that is no longer, he's deceased, but the other landowner is not, that was there, but the father had addressed that, had told at the time, and this was back in 1980, that he built that road and that the county, they couldn't use the road and the county was going to shut it down. And Mrs. Meyer, who has attended numerous times, is still living there, has her whole life. Her and some of the other families had come and addressed, and they were just like, that is a county road. You didn't make that road. That belongs to the county and you cannot shut it down. And the gentleman that was wanting to shut it down, he was shut down. He's like, they're like, you can't do that. This road is not your road. This is a county road. So as Jason is aware of, the one landowner that's giving us difficulties at this time did acknowledge that, yeah, it was, as of 1980, yes, it was a county road. And the county has been maintaining it since then and prior to that. So, and I have already called the sheriff, and I had a situation, had to stand off with the gentleman. He wasn't gonna move, and I wasn't gonna move. But my mom taught me to be better than that, and I took the higher road, and I went around, and as I started to go around, he started up his semi truck and tried to knock me off the road. So that's the level of courtesy that we're dealing with here. So while that was happening, I was actually on the phone with the sheriff's office. And
Did you press charges at that time or?
there was nothing that I could do to press charges. And the sheriff's office told me, he said, if I came out, he said, the bottom line would be this, Shannon. Somebody would have to move. He said, because you're both, he said, you're both on the county road. He said, all I would do would be write it up. But, and he even stated, he said, I know exactly where you're at, and I know exactly what you're talking about. And he said, and it is a danger road. And if you hire an engineer, it's not gonna take a sheriff authority figure to determine that that road is a dangerous road. Period.
You do have two other options. You close the road down, or you can make it a one-way. I know that's not what you want to hear, but that's probably what.
I mean, but those are the options.
Going an alternative route costs you what, 5 minutes?
It's, was it 3 miles? 4 miles around. But here's that. And this was a storm. So this is what happened the other day. Bless our county workers. That was insane, craziest storm. But I will tell you, it seems that we do get hit where we are right in the middle of a storm. I watched a tornado go across my backyard. In fact, there was damage to this gentleman's house. His grain bins got all messed up. It was out on I-69 a couple of years ago. But so I'm leaving to go to work, and there are tree limbs down everywhere. Well, we have no trespassing signs. So I'm not gonna get out of my car and throw tree limbs up in his yard that's off of his trees. I could have gone around, but guess what was blocking my way? The hay bales. Why could the wind not have picked them up and moved them? I don't know, but this is where we are. So I turn around, I'm just thinking, you know what? I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna turn around and go the other way. Well, there was a tree across the road. There was no way that the county could have even possibly have even got out there at that time. So I don't want to say that I'm doing a name blame here, because I'm not. They could not have physically gotten out there that quickly. So I turned around and I came back, I get out of my car and I throw the tree limbs up off so that they don't hit the side of my car just enough so that I could get around. So that's all, that's what we're dealing with. And if they weren't there, I could have done it.
I want to do something quickly as possible, but
I'm,
I'll also make sure legally.
I'll rescind my table, my motion to table, I'll rescind that. But I think if we do move forward, still want to consult with the sheriff, and he may say, guys, I don't have any ideas, but I'd still like to consult with him. And this nuisance idea, what are your thoughts on that, guys?
So this comes up a lot in county or local government, local units of government. I keep unplugging that. It's not necessarily a burden on the commissioners to pursue that. The law says that the property owners that claim that a nuisance is occurring can also pursue that. So we could pursue it. We could initiate a lawsuit against the property owners out there, or we can say you guys can pursue the nuisance suit.
What tends to be the trend as, or maybe that's an unfair question, but do the majority of these cases come from adjacent or close or nearby landowners that are affected by the situation? Or are the majority of these claims made by counties and municipalities?
It rarely, you rarely see that cause of action, so maybe 1 every 2 years. So not enough of a sample to say, but if anything, I'd say it's probably about 50-50. And, yeah,
In this your area, what do you think?
Get something done, because I go up through there and it's an unsafe road. There's no way 2 vehicles can pass between them buildings. That's somebody hitting them or. And then there's gonna be a lawsuit, not only on him, but on the county, because it's a county road.
And do you want to pursue nuisance litigation?
No,
But do you want to give Attorney Spindler permission to pursue that nuisance?
Yep.
Take it to court?
Yep.
If necessary?
yep,
If we do that, do you think I know we don't want to make it go any longer than we're doing, but I mean, would it, in the court's eyes, would it look better if we did the study first?
and so, guys, something's gotta be done.
Yeah, I agree. I agree, I'm just asking, I'm just wanting to cover all bases, I mean.
And maybe even like a traffic study by the sheriff's department? Is that what you're thinking? Or-
Well, he said,
Oh.
still doing a traffic study, but that was by engineering firm.
I guess, yeah, to answer your
Yeah.
question, that would not hurt. It'd be beneficial to our position that it's a nuisance, assuming the engineering study comes back and says the road needs to be expanded until it's expanded. These straw bales are a nuisance. They are a safety concern.
They're a danger.
Mhm.
There was one lady that sent me a picture. She don't even live out there, but she hit one of them and knocked her inner fender well out of her car. She sent me a picture. I probably got it still on my computer.
We not do both at the same time?
That's what I was thinking. Would we be stronger evidentiary wise if we pursued like a sheriff's study and an engineer study? You know what I mean? Just to compile more information. It's just a question.
Yeah.
I don't wanna go
think
in
if
that
you're gonna
deep.
get the engineering study, you might as well go for the expansion.
Yep.
Oh,
Go for it all?
Yeah, I think, you go for well, if you're gonna get the engineering study, I think you just go for the expansion and not the nuisance. Because the nuisance lawsuit can be filed tomorrow and you'll be awaiting an outcome for
Oh, yeah.
6 to 18 months.
Oh,
Which
Yeah.
I fully expect, I mean, I get intimate domain, I know how long that takes. And I appreciate it, I want to know. Moving forward.
Yeah.
This is what we're doing. We're moving to intimate domain because you have 3 landowners who are laughing in your face right now. And at that. Because that's what's happening. That's the reality of what's going on.
going back to my original question, I think the nuisance is what we're after. And we could get that started right away, but tell me if you have other thoughts.
nuisance would take nuisance would take
Nuisance is
long.
gonna take a long time.
You said six.
6 to 18 months. Ballpark.
So,
6 months, 18 months.
so if you do the study, you're talking about 30 days. And then if we have to do that, after that all says and do eminent domain, that's gonna take how long?
Probably 12 to 18.
Oh,
It's all of it's gonna be slow. I'm afraid it's all gonna be slow.
I get it, I mean.
And then, sorry for interrupting, and then another 12 months to do the actual expansion, or 3 to 12 months to do the actual construction work to expand it.
And then
What is the surface out there? Just gravel?
Yes.
Then add their
Which,
11
yeah,
years to
and
it.
I'm not the county on this at all, it's just the type of gravel that's out there, it's whatever they use, but it is very, you do fishtail. So it is very loose, so that's how the one accident not cause, because it's loose gravel, but that's, you know, that's just it, and it's on an incline. So, yes, so for the whole procedure to take place and to get done, am I expecting 2 years? Yeah, yes, I am. Yeah. I fully expect that. My goodness, it took us 6 months at my work just to get a little bitty piece of no ground, which I understand this is huge, but I don't want to be, we need to act.
God. There you go.
I'm just thinking,
We're both gonna take a long
I
time. to do.
know. This keeps circling back around. I just want to make sure we take the right steps here. And we help these ladies out. You know what I mean?
Nothing to do with zoning, so please don't even think that in your head.
No,
Oh,
no.
no,
I was
no.
gonna do it right. I don't want, I mean, that's my whole thing. I
I
don't
don't
want.
get what y'all ran on and instead of say.
See, that's what I'm thinking. If we go, if we're able to pursue that nuisance route and get it done sooner than later. And I'm just thinking that might be the best way to go, but it's,
Do both of them. Attack it from all sides. We're sitting here trying, I am really shocked that there's 3 of them and not a one of them is here to defend their property. That's what I'm sitting, I'm amazed at that. Just like,
What-
no big deal, it's
Um,
okay.
I mentioned that Candy is working on a little bit of research in the surveyor's office. And my recollection of what that was something from, and Scott, I think I've talked about this, but it was something from like the 60s or 70s in which, maybe 80s, it was decided to expand, but then nothing further came of it. They didn't go any further than
I
just
remember,
taking some action in a commissioners meeting.
I remember seeing an old file. I'd have to look at it again, to tell you what it said.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been months since I've seen that, but I did see something from decades ago. And my conclusion back then was, well, they took some action or attempted to take some action, the commissioners did, but then it was like the ball was dropped.
Because 400 South was open. Because there was another access road. There's not that access road anymore because of 69. And once again, 69 came through, the commissioners at that time dropped the ball on a lot of residents on the east side, and 69 come through, because they could have had their road paid, they could have had it widened, and the state would have paid for it. Would have been not one dime or penny out of the taxpayers, but the people in the seats then didn't do the job.
I've got, in Martinsville, I know it's a different county, but in Morgan County, I have 78 acres. And the road is a little bitty, basically a cat path road, but it's a county road. They maintain it. They don't own the easement on each side, but they said, they told me the county just got a letter in the mail, and they said that since it's a county road, no matter what there is, the state makes you mandate that you have so much on each side of the road that you have, I think it's in the state laws, I don't know. And
There's nothing in the state law other than this process we're talking about of expanding it. There's nothing. Now, something that just came to mind is the US Postal Service. I mean, can you imagine if you got that along 5 mailboxes, they're gonna do something. There's gonna be some regulations at that federal level, but I just kind of dawned on.
It already is. I've
Are they-
already visited that, and I told them that we were pursuing, and they will gladly send a letter, whatever they need to do, because he's got 2 huge stakes up where she pulls into the mailbox there. he's got not bales, but he's got two ginormous stakes right there where she has to literally almost turn completely around to get back out onto the road. So yes, that is a huge, they are having an issue as well.
So do you feel like you have federal support on this from your local branch? You feel like they're on board and they would be willing to pursue this
Absolutely,
equally as,
absolutely, 100%.
there's a different angle.
There you go.
Kudos to you, Mr. Spin.
What
Well-
I've seen from them. I've seen them do something previously.
Post office. I already had talked to Armelle about it. And she's like, absolutely. She's like, she's like, this is the most dangerous place. She said, I really hate this route because of this. And I told her, I said, well, hold on. I said, because our commissioners are working. They're working for us. So just hang on. And if we teach you, we'll come back to you. I did that the very first time I came here and addressed you all.
What?
Because I had already, I knew that was a problem right there. Because when they're delivering the mail, you meet them on the road. You can't, somebody's, you gotta back down, you gotta wait.
Is all the mailboxes on one side or they,
Yes, they're all on one
so
side.
if it did go one way, it could. They would be one side, right?
Mhm.
Just asking the question.
Do we have leverage? Is there leverage with the other three property owners if we tell them that this is possibly gonna be converted to a one-way? Would they want that? Would they want it to be a one-way or do they?
I couldn't tell, I can't answer that question.
That letter was only sent to one person, I thought, so it wasn't sent to all three of them.
Correct.
So they may be a little more apt to work with us.
So we've talked with, I don't think I've had any communication with one of the three property owners. But I have two of the three. And the one I would consider to be a very level-headed individual. I think I'd like to revisit a conversation with that individual.
I'm good with that. I'm good with pursuing the nuisance, reaching out to these other folks,
All three.
All three. all three folks. But then also knowing that we plan to pursue litigation.
But at the same time, doing studies as well to back our litigations.
I'm okay with the sheriff's, I mean, this is just my opinion. I support a sheriff's road study, but anything beyond that, I do not support at this time. Because I feel like we can get it done with the sheriff's study. And also,
That be accredited, that Jason, that would be
That would be a what?
accredited, I mean, the sheriff's study would be good enough.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, anything with word, if you have, it would be evidence for the judge's consideration. Yeah, would it be more weighty than a third party that's less biased? That third party would probably be more weighty evidence, more meaningful evidence.
This be all cost from us, whatever,
Yeah,
from us doing it. Well, taxpayers.
mhm.
What do you think, Kenny? Quiet down there.
I don't know. Something's gotta be done though. I don't know about a nuisance, but I know it's safety. Said I travel that road, so I know.
Need to make a motion or something.
You want a motion on that, to have that authority to move forward? Nuisance litigation, discussions about, converting to a
one way.
one-way road. And
They're not gonna do a one-way road.
No,
Those three will not do a one-way road. They're right there at the end. They're gonna take it.
Sure, well,
They're not gonna want a one-way road?
No.
they won't pay attention to
They
it.
want a two-way road. They want it the way it is. Right? Is what is your opinion?
They're not gonna go if you made it a one-way road, they're still gonna go out the end.
if you,
Not if the county.
Oh, I see.
picks it up.
or if you, I mean, that would be legally, man.
yeah, that's, that
County can.
I mean, they can patrol it and
becomes an issue then.
But they won't do that.
You're probably right, but it becomes an issue, you know, what I mean, it becomes an issue then.
Just like the 2 times he's met people, he should have stayed once on 850 and once in his own driveway waiting for this vehicle to come through. But he didn't. He went on out and made them back up.
And that's what he did. That's what he did with me. He waited until I got to a point that I couldn't get over. And then he pulled his big rig in and hits me head on.
I would've took one of them. I would've took one of her dogs out.
He did my niece. She was up there by the house. And he went ahead and pulled out in his semi and told her she had to back all the way down to 850. She said, "You backed up." He said, "I can't back this thing up." I said, "If he can't back it up, he don't need to be driving."
So there's 2 people that he's.
This was a younger girl or?
He had to back all the way back down to 850 from in front of his house. And all he had to do was just wait a little bit for the car to go by. But instead he pulled out. It's a nightmare out here.
It is.
It is.
Yes, indeed.
Thank you for.
Well,
Amari Bold.
Because it's gonna take 2.5 years to get it to a safe place.
Okay, so the motion on the floor, or is there a motion on the floor?
I don't
Yeah,
believe
maybe,
so. I
maybe,
was sending
yeah.
my
Send
earlier
it yours. There's no motion at this time.
Is there a motion? Does anybody want to make a motion?
We'll make a motion though, with here to hold it and lay it out, so. I mean, as far
Okay,
as.
let's start with, is there a motion to initiate litigation? Asserting a nuisance cause of action against the property owners, if I cannot get a resolution by Friday of next week with them. Do I have a motion
I'll make.
to
a motion.
that effect? Is there a motion on the floor? Is there a second?
I'll second.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it unanimously. Secondly, do we want to have the sheriff's department conduct a road study, an outside firm conduct a road study, or neither of the above?
I think if it, personally, if it says it's more accredited to do outside firm, I would think.
You're motioning for a third party to conduct the road study.
Yeah, I'm good with that, but only if it's more credited and
Well, I think it would be more weight to yes. I think the judge would give it more, or the trier of fact would give it more weight than somebody in-house. And somebody that is, yeah, I mean, the sheriff's department certainly is experts on safety and road conditions, but if you've got an engineering firm that can say from an engineering perspective, it's not safe to pass, 2 motorists going opposite directions, it's not safe for those motorists to pass. I think that's better coming from an engineer, and I don't know that well, I'll leave it at that. I think it's better coming from a third-party engineering
I'll
firm.
make that motion.
There's a motion on the floor. Is there a second to hire an engineer?
Motion, please.
Oh, I'm sorry, I make that motion, to have a third party do a study on that road.
Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second it.
A motion and a second. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
The ayes have it 2-1. And I think that takes care of everything.
No, so are we gonna still do letters to all 3 of them?
Well, I'm gonna communicate with them telephonically between now and next Friday, and then if I don't have a resolution by next Friday, I'll pull the trigger on the initiation of the lawsuit.
Then information.
I shouldn't use that terminology. We've been using gun references too much in this meeting.
That's good.
Yes.
I have,
You just. That I
Um,
can understand.
I will initiate the litigation next Friday if I don't believe it's going in the right direction.
what about we didn't talk 30 minutes about this, but what about post office? You can reach out to them as well, or?
You've talked to the delivery person at the postmaster.
I can.
You will, yeah, talk with the postmaster for us.
Email to you directly.
Well, actually, see, if you want to reach out to me and give me the name, and I can reach out and see if there's any like federal regulations that may help. Because I know there's some, I just don't know what they say. So I don't think we need any, that's not we don't need any action on that one.
And for the record, my nay there was just because I thought we should have had the sheriff's department go through it. But I also respect Attorney Spindler's opinion on that. And we'll take no issue with that at all, other than I thought we should go through the sheriff's department, just an opinion.
I
So,
respect that's fine.
We're not gonna hold that against you.
appreciate it.
Anything else we need to look at on that?
That's it.
Any have that, like that good on you?
And the engineers go out there also
Yes.
and start that process.
We're gonna send letters again and then we're gonna do the study correctly. And then we're gonna check
If
the
they
post office.
don't respond to him, which they're not going to, but kudos to you for giving them a try. Then litigation will begin.
Oof.
All right. What's this? HR committee.
That was brought up at the last meeting by our insurance agent, and I asked that to be put on the agenda for this evening's meeting. There were some deficiencies that the Brian Hancock had brought up. A lot of those were pertaining to our handling of personnel. And we certainly need to revamp our personnel handbooks. So I am recommending the formation of a committee consisting of myself as the county attorney, Judy, if she's willing to serve with some HR background. County auditor, if he's willing to serve, and whoever else the commissioners deem appropriate, maybe a commissioner or whoever else you deem appropriate, but those, myself, Judy, auditor's office.
I will respectfully decline at this time.
What else can we get?
Well,
Anybody else has HR background? Or anything in the county?
I think about highway superintendent,
Hmm.
highway superintendent.
Or his administrative assistant,
Yeah,
Deborah.
he's got the most employees. He's
Like-
got union.
Mr. Fleetwood would be a great person.
I don't know, it's not HR, But I would maybe Deborah with the highway department.
Okay.
Because she, she kind of oversees
Yeah,
their payroll and knows all the employees and has access to a computer 24/7. She might be able to give them quick responses as far as like claims go and responses to claims. And that's my suggestion. Secretary out there, highway department. Think it might be all right, Judy?
so those three people for now, we can add to it later.
Judy, do you have any recommendations, Judy?
That's according to his background in HR.
Perfect.
Should be good. That's Klein.
Yeah, she's with the recorder's office. Treasurers, okay.
What's her name?
Jeanette Klein.
Beth.
I'll give you 4. Is that
Yeah.
enough?
I think that's a good start, yes.
There we go.
So we just asked for a motion to form that committee consisting of those 4 individuals, Janess Cloyne.
I'll make that motion.
Okay, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Just make a motion to form that committee. With who is it? Deborah, Jason, Judy, and Jeanette Coyne.
Have a motion, was there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, a motion and a second on the floor. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the ayes have it unanimously.
Rick, are you not asleep yet?
I'm rehearsing my speech about forgot.
Well, come on. I just didn't want to wake you up to get to sleep.
Nope, I'm ready.
You've only got 17 minutes is all you've got. 17 minutes, that's it. No more.
No more.
Is my representative still online? I think I'm flying without a safety net now, so I think it's been a while.
Nice uniform, Rick.
You guys are in trouble now. It's just, heck, I don't know where to start at, because with this, business we're in uncharted territories. We drew up the ordinances, the agreements. Being first at the table, I guess, had its advantages, but then now we're going through it together, and every time I keep finishing thinking, we're finished, it's a living, relationship. We're gonna be here a while, not tonight, but together in this project. So as per the ordinance and the agreements that were in place, one of the things we need is, and it's hard to believe, we gotta talk about decommissioning.
He made Bill do you.
So, but this is just part of the process to make sure, since this is last time deal that we're in, every 5 years, our decommissioning bond that we have per our agreement, and Jason and I, we kind of went over, it again, we all charted and made this together to make sure we're on line with the potential of the money to be there at the end to take care of putting the properties and the parcels back. And we need an engineering firm to start this. And since our firm that we worked with helped navigate, put this together, they have very fluid knowledge with it. We're asking, because you all have to approve the engineering or the PE for this. And I did get clarification. Every 5 years, this has to be reviewed. And it will take some time to form a contract, bring whoever you might want up to speed on this. But it is possible to use somebody local at that time without any inconvenience or hardship. Because I know it's always, I wear many hats in all this that I'm doing, and from my county side, I always want to try to keep as much of this local as possible. And I think that's one of the most of your concerns as well. We have a lot of good firms. So it is doable to bring somebody in, but it will cause some delay and a lot of headaches to do this right off of the start. And it's just to use the firm Westwood, and they were the ones that helped navigate, put this together. But all they're gonna do is help in making sure that the bond is set. They're gonna do the how do they project out to foretell what we need to start with and how to maintain this every 5 years to make sure we're there. So we just need your blessing this evening to use this firm as pursuant to the agreement that is part of the ordinance. You want to look through that big thick binder I keep talking about, section 6 subpart A and 10 subpart A. That's what our attorney has referenced, and they were going to be online this evening just to back up if you had any questions, but they pretty much schooled me and pretty confident in our relationship to go that we can get this through. And then I have the letter from our drainage board meeting that we all worked on, and we just need your signatures on that we had that in. So that shakes hands with the minutes from that meeting. So tonight we just need to approve this Westwood as the PE for the decommissioning agreement.
Rick, we worked together on this early on, and I think you've been extremely helpful. And of course, Attorney Spindler, working on the legal side of it, but could you explain to the people at home, if you will, what decommissioning means? What is decommissioning? Because no, pretty much. I've had time and time again, I've had citizens, Gibson County citizens ask me, what's going to happen
Exactly.
when all these solar panels someday meet their longevity? They run out of usefulness, which I mean, that's debatable too, right? How long they last and whatnot.
Well.
And you can replace panels, right? You can replace. Bottom line is, what's gonna happen when a company decides, one of these companies, whether it be your company or another company, based on our ordinance that we have in place, what's gonna happen? How are those panels gonna be removed? What is decommissioning?
Right, as part of this agreement and the ordinance, we have to put the property back like we got it. And it's like and again, all of our utilities and industry that's out there, not just pit one against the other, but when a coal mine has to reclaim. Sometimes if they don't dot all the i's and cross the t's in the good old days, we were left with a lot of unusable disturbed ground. We're getting a lot better now, new ordinances, tighter laws, EPA, so we've got the ground back to where it's useful. And that's what this is all in place for, is to protect the landowner on the end, that whether it's a bankruptcy, or any kind of, financial catastrophic, that money is there for the county or whoever that has to be over the removing of this product. So that it's not touchable by that company. It's held by basically an escrow. Again, I'm just using layman's terms, the attorneys can probably put better verbiage, but you're asking me to just for everybody at home.
Yes.
That money's there, we can't touch it, and there's no way of going, it's gonna be 50 million in 35 years, 45 years, because some of our contracts go 35 at a minimum with an extension of possibly 15. So you're talking a long way down with a crystal ball that, what do we know what it's gonna be like? So.
And-
sure we're on
Yes.
the hook basically to financially be there.
And this bond or escrow, that's setting aside money and collecting money for it. Trying to remember on it, Rick, but I think full decommission will be reached at year 20 or
That's not, I don't know on that one.
maybe sooner, maybe sooner. It's been a few days since I looked over that, but, it's what my point is full decommission does not occur on day one
Oh, no.
when that's feeding the grid. So on day one, when these solar farm or this solar farm that we're talking about in particular
Yes, because this is just the Gibson.
is on the grid,
The Elliott.
Gibson's on the grid, day one, full decommission is not there. It's, the money's gonna be gathered, paid into the escrow over time. So that when the life of the farm has met its end, if you will, then the money will be there for full
Right.
decommission.
Right, because again, we're making deals that probably most of us won't even be here, you know.
Right.
35, 45 years down the road here, it'll be our next generation, so it protects everybody.
Hey, I'll be
And
close.
It also holds the company that we can't say, you know, if it'll be 50 million, okay, well, we're gonna give you 100,000 now, and we're good for it, it'll be there, trust us, well, then we could go away, and then everybody's left holding. So to protect the county, we have these benchmarks of every 5 years to go, okay, we're at least on track to meet that goal at the end, or is there any other changes we can foresee as we're getting closer as to cost that either increase, or again, sit back on the escrow on your home. If you've met your taxes go down, your insurance goes down, you know, there's much in escrow, or vice versa. If it goes up, contribute. And so that's what this is for. And I know I've got a better working relationship real quick, because, and you can bring everybody up to speed. It's not that I'm just talking to one all the time, but so I just wanted to include the attorney so that he was there when a lot of this was drafted as well. But to have this as safeguards in place for everyone. But you will have that ability. Again, it's a hurdle, but it's something that I don't think we can't get across if you still choose to want to use someone else. And so it's good to have those that have the knowledge and can move through this and be there to move as fluently as possible, but also to protect, keep something local, if we can help some local firms to do it. That's what we're asking for Westwood tonight, for the first to get it going, and then that'll be up to you. Every 5 years we'll come before the commissioners and it's time again, so. And gives you control a little bit to go. It's something we don't trust your numbers, but we'd like a second opinion, but we're at least on the mark to provide that one.
Oh, yeah.
Go ahead.
you already got bought out once, right? Or is it the same company from?
It was an assignment. Yeah, so that's what this addresses if they go belly up.
But the safeguard is there. That money's untouchable and it's there, has to continue to be there to protect, up front. Yeah, no, we have an order on the top companies out there.
We need a motion, Rick, to
Yeah, you just need to stick in your, approval tonight, and we don't have to sign it, the minutes will stand to hold that as, in conjunction, is what I've been told, so. That, yeah, to accept
Oh, so good.
the, PE for this decommissioning, part of the, agreement.
What is it, Westwood? Is that the name?
Yeah. but-
Westwood. Is there a motion to that effect?
make that motion.
I have a motion on the floor. Is there a second? Is there a second to the motion?
Okay, well,
I'll second, yeah.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. There you go.
She, was very helpful in getting the letter drawn up. I emailed it, they'd sent it to me. I was like, I'm on the way. I don't have a printer in the car. So she'll have that letter as soon as we're finished this evening for you from our drainage, agreement that was in place on that. All that means, every time you see me, we're moving closer to construction and getting there to, getting this project going. And we'll have some more formal announcements to, come out as, conclusive dates when the EPC and everything was named, for the project.
All right.
thank you.
Thank you, Rick.
Thank you, Rick. Appreciate it. Like the uniform too.
On duty, so when we're down here, I gotta go back.
Mhm.
2023 budgets.
Here. Mhm. Huh?
I think she's pointing at somebody down there.
Oh, I remember now, yeah. I didn't think it was my item. Let's put that on the next meeting agenda. I can't remember what that's about.
Whether you get paid or not.
Never mind, let's go ahead and approve.
Nice.
All right,
And then that next item, judicial usage of the door on the main floor, that's pertaining to the courthouse. And there really is no action, that's not an action item for this evening.
Yeah,
As they're installing this new security system, an issue got brought to my attention that the judges, staff and juries may have from time to time the need to use a door other than the south basement. And so the judges have been in talks with Stephanie McKinney.
Yeah.
It may eventually be an action item, but for now, I'm just putting you on notice of what's going on.
appreciate that. No action.
And then the next,
signage for their new building over here.
yes.
Station building.
It was brought to my attention that they were having some issues with deliveries. Carriers were not sure where to take the packages. That building has a State Street address. And so it's a little confusing to UPS, FedEx, USPS and others.
It's halfway in the block.
Yeah, and so I think we need signage there. But we've got a meeting of the building corporation tomorrow, so let's talk about that then. I will say that Mrs. Moody was successful in getting Google to update it on Google Maps, so that's helped a lot, she has said, once that went into effect. A lot of those carriers are pulling their data, probably all of them are pulling their data from Google Maps. So we'll just talk about that some tomorrow during that meeting.
Okay.
Okay.
And now we have a medical leave. Need somebody to approve that.
I make that motion.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
What?
Bedtime.
It's bedtime? Yeah, it's 7:30 or 6:30.
Yeah, motion.
I got something I wanna say before you close. I think the county, I just want you to know, the county, I thought the county did a real good job with cleaning up the trees and debris on the road. And I wanted to tell the commissioners, I think everything was good on that. And I felt like that don't know if that was if it's a good thing, but I think maybe the secretary might want to be there, work 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, so someone's in the office and they'll take calls instead of going to the police department, the sheriff's department. And other than that, that's it. It's just a thought, and I thought, but all in all, I just wanted you guys to know, the commissioner know that I felt like in the catastrophe that we had kind of, that Trevor did a very good job.
Well,
Excellent job, and it's still got a long way to go. It's still a lot of.
But I mean, I thought they did a good job.
Friday, I called the sheriff's department, and reported it. Somebody called me and said, there's a tree hanging in the road. So I called the department with that 911 no. And I said, told them to get a hold of Brent. And, because it was on Friday and they're off on Friday, so.
I want to continue on that as well. Brent's not here right now, but they're not. So the county is focusing on picking up debris and everything for the rest of this week and next week as well, and putting a hold on the doing chip seal and everything else right now, focusing on that, because I know a lot of us, we all drive out there and was telling him about debris, but everywhere at a point, it came to a point to where just, you go out there, you're gonna see some on every road there was, but they have done a good job on that, you know.
Yeah.
I did try to get him, because I had a tree out in my front yard split in two. I tried to get him to bring a grate all up there and grab it and he wouldn't do it.
There were some mornings they were out there, 2 AM later.
But I just thought, like the secretary just working, 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, and then she could, and because it helps take.
Make a motion.
And George don't mind answering the phone.
We'll make a motion
You
to
don't
adjourn.
mind answering the phone, do
I
you?
think we already did.
I'll
No,
second.
we didn't.
Oh,
All in favor, aye.
Adjourn.
Where's the medical?